Okay, hello, my name is Darlene, Yellow Old Woman-Munro. Siksika sim napinamaya ki experienced the worst natural disaster in June 2013. 1,000 people were evacuated. However, not everybody made it to the site where the muster site was. Only because of the river which divided the community and the bridges were out. I was also evacuated, but I also bring in Samaritan Purse to all the communities that were affected. And on my way back, I decided to volunteer, and I stopped at our local recreation center. And I was pulled aside by one of the team leads, and she asked if I would work with them, and I asked what I would be doing, and there would be night shift, looking after all the clients that were evacuated and at the sportsplex, those inside and those camped outside. So initially, I volunteered, was asked to continue to work, and they would pay me a salary. And so I started my journey as a site manager with the flood recovery. Once the peacetime was lifted, I was concerned about the clients because all the departments left. And who was going to look after these evacuees in the recovery? I had gained some experience with the University of Calgary International Health Committee, and had the opportunity to go to the Philippines. When I arrived in the Philippines, I joined their team, which was a totally new concept to me, which was a multidisciplinary team. And they had a nurse, they had a physician, they had somebody from economic development, a loans officer, a teacher from another community that came to help. And we thought about, what can we do for the nation? So I contacted the CEO at SFS, explained, that I was really concerned with the PTSD that our clients the evacuated were exhibiting. And I said we needed to do something. Initially, we started with students, around 20 students in total that assisted with the recovery after the peacetime was lifted. We had to move out of the recreation center, and one site was ready for clients to move into. And then, then we had to move. We had to set up the food bank, and so at that time we still were site managers. It wasn't until September, October, where the provincial government came out. We went on a tour, explained what I thought we needed, which was a multidisciplinary team, which they never heard of, right? So I explained what a multidisciplinary team was. It was a group of professionals, and we all would complement each other in our efforts to help the evacuees to rebuild the families and communities through hope and healing. Our team became reality, and we started to hire. And the team was called Dancing Deer Disaster Recovery Center, and that name was given by the community members who were affected by the flood. They would meet, and so the departments were asking, what shall we call this recovery team and whatever. And so that's where Dancing Deer came up. And it's a healing society within our community. And it was important for us to go out in pairs. One, just for safety issues, and if there was a nurse and a social work out in the community, then door to door, going to the temporary sites, which were the ACO sites. We didn't have to run around and phone around and say, okay, well, we'll go get a nurse for you, but we would already have a nurse on site, and they could both go out and a social worker. So that was our concept, that everybody went out to to the clients did not have to come to us. So, which was a better process for the clients, especially for those who were in the east end of the reserve and would have to travel 20 to 30 miles to to centers to come and see us. And it was really important for us, even right from the beginning, to be aware of all your senses of smell, touching, hearing, seeing, when you were observing those who were affected by the flood, because we discovered many issues that were overlooked and we picked up. And one of our goals was to ensure that we spoke the language, and if we're not all fluent, then at least that we understood our language. So 90% of our staff spoke and understood our language. Enhanced our delivery because our communication with the clients was more comfortable, more trusting, more respectful, and we were able to let them express themselves in our language and tell us what their needs were. As part of their training was to make sure they followed our medicine wheel, which was to follow the spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional needs of all clients of all ages, from babies to the elderly. It was really important for us to ensure that we had age-appropriate services for community members who were affected by the 2013 flood. Those who were affected by the flood, some have moved in year 4 years after the flood. However, there's still some waiting to move into their homes 5 years after the flood.